Islam, for example, because I'm a Muslim, and a lot of people connect with God in different ways. I don't think any of that is inherently wrong. For example, when you pray in Islam, you're supposed to make wudu before, which is cleansing yourself. You're supposed to wash your arms, wash your feet. You're supposed to wash your face, your ears, and everything. You're supposed to be in a clean state. Even when you pray in Mecca, you're supposed to be wearing a white garment that's clean. Like, there's a way to purify yourself and make sure you have true intentions. Even when you're washing yourself before prayer, you're supposed to make sure, like, the whole point is to make clear intentions that I'm going to pray, or else your prayer isn't accepted. Like, even when you get your knees where your head's to the floor, you can't just go through the motions and expect to be able to connect with God. You have to have clear intentions to do that. So I think there's a lot of things. If you're emotional or if you don't have faith, sometimes people just don't have faith. Like there's a lot of things that can block your faith.
Okay. So then let's say I'm having trouble, right? Let's say I don't really have faith, or I'm afraid, or I'm angry. Actually, forget about that. I realized I was slipping into a debating kind of mode, so I'll just say what I'm going to say. So here's where I think there's an advantage to therapy. So I completely agree with everything that you said. Okay. I think the challenge, though, is that what you're sort of talking about is like difficulties within you. So, like, let's just take faith.
It's the belief in
not
something.
having faith.
And if you really look at it, technically, you can't have faith. You can't have faith if you have knowledge, because knowledge is when you know something. Faith is when you believe something, right? You have faith in something. Agreed there? I'm not trying to argue with you. I'm laying out how my understanding.
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah. So I think the big advantage of therapy is that you've got like another human being. So if you have other problems, right? So like if you have, let's say, fear or anger or a lack of faith, that there's actually like another human being there to help you with those barriers.
Right. But humans are inherently flawed, and we're never going to be perfect. So
absolutely.
A therapist's advice is always going to be inferior to God, because God's all-knowing and God is perfect, and God's more intelligent than us. I don't think that there's any human that's better than me or smarter or that knows anything that I don't know, because we're all created equal. So, it's good to kind of voice those things. And that's why that therapy session that I had with that woman with the giant breasts was effective, because I realized something. She didn't tell me anything. It was just me talking that made me realize that this is useless and I don't need this. I think when you talk to something, yeah.
Hold on a second. So once again, I don't disagree with any of your premises. I come to a different conclusion. So you kind of said, I'm with you that human beings are flawed, right? And so, but just because a human being is flawed doesn't mean that a human being can't help another human being.
True. Yeah, I'm not saying it's completely useless. I'm just saying that prayer's better.
Okay.
And I think people like the echo chamber and have a certain level of narcissism. I think if you keep going back to therapy like that long without any solution, you just kind of like hearing yourself talk.
Well, when you say that long without any kind of solution, like what's your understanding of like the course and outcomes around therapy?
There's a lot of people that I know. I'm sure you know these people, so they have their therapist on speed dial, and they talk about the therapist like their friend.
I don't think that's the majority of people. I think that is a tiny fraction of people. I would guess less than 5%. So I know that, for example, like part of our training as therapists is that we set very clear boundaries. We're not your friend. So you're not supposed to be texting us all the time. So when a patient texts or calls me at like 8 p.m., I'll answer because they don't usually do that. And then I'll ask them, hey, can this wait until our appointment? Or do you really need to talk to me now? Or do you need to go to the emergency room? Or like, what's going on? So I don't think that because a lot of what I'm really confused about is that I think a lot of your understanding of therapy is based on, I'm not quite sure what you've heard, I guess.
I guess my understanding is like there's a lot of liberals who prioritize feelings over facts. People that the people that go to therapy I don't think that they're based in reality. They like to realize their lives. People that find it interesting, they want to make it more interesting by making no problems.
Where do you get that? Right, so like for example, you said that they're like interested in feelings instead of facts. So like, where do you get that impression? Like, I'm just so by that. For example, you're drawing a lot of conclusive statements, and I'm curious.
They have something called like gender affirming care. I remember having this in school where we had like social workers and therapists that were designed there, and there were rooms for where there was like a becoming transgender or becoming gender fluid, they're always constantly in therapy. Or like, I went to school with a bunch of depressed kids.